Saudi Arabia has announced a startling discovery that has left many people surprised and concerned. Let's explore the fascinating world of Mount Sinai, also known as Mount Moses. This mountain is more than just a peak. It holds significant religious and historical importance, spanning centuries. It has captured the interest of people from all over the world, including believers of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, as well as scientists and tourists. In this video, we'll take you on an exciting journey as we uncover some of the most unexpected discoveries that have baffled scientists. We'll delve into sacred texts and scientific evidence to unveil the hidden secrets of this legendary mountain. Let's begin. Mount Sinai. The very name conjures up images of a majestic mountain shrouded in mystery and history. This legendary peak, nestled in the south-central region of the Sinai Peninsula between Israel and Egypt, has intrigued and fascinated people for centuries. At the mere mention of Mount Sinai, our minds are transported to the momentous events that unfolded here. We envision Moses ascending its slopes to receive the divine commandments, the Israelites embarking on their journey to freedom from Egyptian slavery, and the palpable presence of the Almighty. It is a place where faith, history, and wonder converge. However, what adds to the mystique is the ongoing debate surrounding the exact location of Mount Sinai. Despite its immense significance, scholars and scientists have yet to reach a consensus. Some assert that it is a massive granite peak soaring to a breathtaking height of 2,285 meters or 1.41 miles above sea level. To put it into perspective, that's nearly a quarter of the height of Mount Everest, making it an awe-inspiring sight to behold. But let's delve deeper into the realm of faith and pilgrimage. Did you know that Mount Sinai has been a destination for pilgrims, scholars, and hermits for thousands of years? The illustrious St. Catherine's Monastery, constructed at the foot of the mountain in 538 AD, stands as a testament to the enduring spiritual significance of this sacred site. It holds the distinction of possibly being the oldest continuously inhabited Christian monastery in the world. Stepping inside the monastery is like stepping into a time capsule. Its library houses a treasure trove of ancient manuscripts, including the esteemed 4th century Greek Codex Sinaiticus of the Bible. These manuscripts preserve the wisdom, stories, and teachings that have shaped the faith and understanding of countless generations. Mount Sinai is not just a mountain, it's a tapestry interwoven with the threads of faith, history, and discovery. Its allure transcends borders and faith traditions, captivating the hearts and minds of those who seek a deeper connection with the divine and a greater understanding of our shared heritage. Despite this, people still speculate about other possible locations for Mount Sinai. In fact, some researchers promote another location altogether, and you won't believe where it is. The answer is Saudi Arabia, and there's a solid reason behind this claim. Let's take a journey back to the founding place of the Islamic faith, Saudi Arabia. The land of Midian in Saudi Arabia is believed to be where the iconic Mount Sinai is located, but scholars have been divided on the exact location of this mountain for centuries. Some believe it's Mount Bergier or Jabal al-Lawz, to the northeast of the Gulf of Aqaba, while others point to Jabal al-Manifa near Wadi al-Kharab. However, the late Ron Wyatt had a more controversial theory. Wyatt was an American scholar who had a knack for finding biblical locations. He claimed to have found Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah, the Red Sea crossing, the Ark of the Covenant, and other biblical archaeological treasures. Wyatt's theory about the Mount Sinai's location in the ancient land of Midian was based on his interpretation of Exodus 3, verse 1. He reasoned that because Moses looked after Jethro's flocks, the mountain of God that Moses encountered had to be in Midian as well. Jethro was conveniently a Midian priest, so Wyatt concluded that the real Mount Sinai must be located east of the path of the miraculous Red Sea crossing, in the territory of western modern-day Saudi Arabia. In 1978, Wyatt claimed to have discovered Mount Sinai in Nawaba and the Gulf of Aqaba, the eastern branch of the Red Sea. The best theory, according to Wyatt, was Jabal al-Lawz, which boasted the highest peak in the entire western Saudi Arabian mountain range. Wyatt and his two sons boldly and illegally crossed into Saudi Arabia in 1984 to explore and photograph the area, but they were apprehended, their films confiscated, and they were imprisoned for 78 days as Israeli spies by the Saudis. Wyatt later returned to Saudi Arabia, this time legally on a treasure hunting mission. He was looking for the Mountain of God, as well as Egyptian treasures in the region and remnants of Pharaoh's massive army, which he believed could be found at the bottom of the Red Sea. Following delegations, researchers produced impressive results in the following years, but most scholars agree that these are still speculative and lack definitive and indisputable archaeological proofs. Wyatt's research concludes that the famous mountain is a large pile of granite rocks about a quarter of a mile from the mountain's base. The site bears petroglyphs of bovine, that is, bulls, cows, and oxen. Wyatt claimed that this was the great altar of Israel at the foot of Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia, and possibly the one mentioned in the Golden Calf story. After quoting a Saudi archaeologist from Riyadh University who said that these were Egyptian-style cows and bulls that had never been found anywhere else in Saudi Arabia. According to Israeli researchers, the exodus from Egypt occurred between 2350 and 2000 BC, which they backed up with other archaeological evidence. While such revisionist chronologies are not new, they're often rejected in scholarly circles. Despite this, Mount Sinai remains an important location to Christians because it was the scene of many shocking events related to the Israelites, according to biblical accounts. The Doubting Thomas Research Foundation made a documentary about how the real Mount Sinai, or the Mountain of Moses, is in Saudi Arabia. The foundation's researchers have also shown that the real Mount Sinai is in the Saudi kingdom. The documentary shows on a map and talks about how all the places in the Bible match up with places in Saudi Arabia. In Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 2, it says, quote, "It took 11 days to get from Mount Sinai to Kadesh by way of Mount Seir." Many Bible maps show Kadesh where Tel El Kudarat is now. According to research done by the Doubting Thomas Research Foundation, remember that Deuteronomy chapter 1 says it takes 11 days to get to Kadesh Barnea from Mount Sinai via Mount Seir. From Jabal Maqla to Petra, the distance is about 118 miles, or 188 kilometers as the crow flies. On the other hand, it's almost 250 kilometers, or 154 miles, from the traditional site in the southern Sinai Peninsula. Not only is this site farther away, but it's also in the middle of the wilderness and farther from any old roads than Jabal Maqla, as the ancient city of Midian is a short distance from this mountain. Because of this, the trip would have taken even longer than usual. Also, the research of well-known scholars shows that the Red Sea where Solomon built his fleet is probably the same Red Sea that the Israelites crossed to get away from the Pharaoh's army. In short, the Israelites crossed the Red Sea in the Gulf of Aqaba, and this position in the Bible points to an Arabian Mount Sinai. According to a documentary called Finding the Mountain of Moses, the real Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia. Researchers have found the real location of Mount Sinai. This exciting discovery comes after scientists use radiocarbon dating to prove that the Red Sea parted for Moses. The team of researchers, led by security analyst Ryan Melro, claimed that the peak Jabal al-Lawz in Saudi Arabia is actually Mount Sinai. They found evidence suggesting that the Israelites crossed from the beach of Nuweiba into modern-day Saudi Arabia. The crossing would have only been 8 miles wide, making it easily walkable for the fleeing Israelis. Recently, a professor from Cambridge also confirmed that Mount Sinai, which is an active volcano, is in Saudi Arabia and not in the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. Professor Colin Humphreys of Cambridge University says that science backs up the idea that Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, which is pretty much how the Bible says it happened. Professor Humphreys says that the Holy Mountain must have been where Mount Better is now, in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. Also, he thinks that God spoke to Moses at the burning bush near Mount Better. He seems to think that this was caused by flammable natural gas, or gas from a volcano coming up from the earth. Professor Humphreys said this about his book: "If my book is right, and I think the evidence is very strong, then world maps will have to be changed to put Mount Sinai in a different place. The Bible, history books, and travel guides will all need to be rewritten. I found that the things that happened during the Exodus are even more dramatic than most people think. The ancient Israelites escaping from Egypt is one of the best true stories ever told." Bible scholars believe that evidence near Jabal al-Lawz suggests it was once an Israelite camp with cave paintings of cows, adding to the story of the Golden Calf. Unfortunately, the site may soon be destroyed because it's within the footprint of the proposed Saudi megacity Neom, which will be 33 times larger than New York. However, many scholars are still divided on whether the Great Exodus from Egypt ever happened at all, and even the timing of the Exodus is a subject of debate. Some scholars argue that the Exodus took place in the 13th century BC during the Egyptian 19th dynasty. The names of the three locations mentioned in the biblical account of Israel's Exodus from Egypt correspond to Ramesside period Egyptian place names between the 13th and 11th century BCE. According to the Bible, the Israelites were forced to build the store cities of Pithom and Ramses as slaves, and they left Egypt after the 10 plagues, crossing the Yam Suf, translated Red Sea or Reed Sea, whose waters were miraculously parted for them. In conclusion, the discovery of the real location of Mount Sinai is a fascinating and important development in our understanding of the biblical story. However, the debate over the validity and timing of the Exodus from Egypt continues to be a question. Alrighty folks, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you found it informative and enjoyable. So, is Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia? What are your opinions about its location and significance? Share in the comments below. Moreover, if you appreciate our content and wish to stay updated on our latest releases, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.